Hello everybody. Next up, it's up the M1 and M6 we traipse to the oddly named Molyneux, where our hosts will of course be Wolverhampton Wanderers. Kick-off on Tuesdays at 8 p.m, and as far as I can see, there is no official televisual coverage hereabouts, though no doubt those of you from climes foreign will have access to some sort of feed. So, Wolves then.
Fantastic. Just missing the sea. Yeah. See, they put the sea in front of the pitch. Huh?
Since the turn of the year, they've played 10, won 3, drawn 1 and lost 6. The wins came at home to Villa and a brace of wins down on the south coast, away at Bournemouth 1-0. And yes, you've guessed it, at Southampton, where they picked up the obligatory 3 points in a 2-1 win before the break. The draw came at home to Everton, whilst they lost at home to Forest, Arsenal and Fulham, and away to Newcastle, Chelsea and Liverpool, where PGMOL finally admitted that the laws of the game don't apply to the home side when they overturned a blatantly incorrect penalty decision but somehow forgot to issue a yellow card to Jota, whose dive was as big an embarrassment to the game as the club he plays for. Now that sort of form isn't great, but it should be pointed out that it's likely to be good enough this season, where the bottom 3 seem to have been set adrift. The 26 points gathered by Wolves from the 29 games played so far has left them 9 points clear of both Ipswich and Leicester, and 19 clear of Southampton, who are in danger of being lapped. Immediately above them are us, with an 8-point gap being the difference. So in all those mini-divisions of which pundits are so keen on talking, they're probably in a mini-league all on their own. Well, like us, they've had a replacement manager over the course of the season. Just before Christmas, Victor Pereira replaced the perennially not very cheerful former Hammer Gary O'Neill with them in 19th place, Pereira's debut match being a 3-0 defeat of Leicester. Since then, obviously, Leicester's form has plummeted faster than shares in Tesla, and the 10 points that Wolves have gleaned have all but assured them a place in the top flight next season, barring a major reversal of form. That being target 1 for Pereira, he brought in 3 players during the January transfer window. Daisy tells me they spent £16.6 million to bring in central defender and 1984 novelty hit for Blacklace, Emmanuel Agbadou. Daisy commented that, whilst the signing of the Ivorian international was clearly designed to strengthen a struggling defence, the success of Blacklace was somewhat more inexplicable, given that nobody knows anyone who actually bought that infernal record. The second winter arrival was another central defender in the form of Nasser Giga. The Burkina Faso international arrived for £10 million from Red Star Belgrade. The defender made his way from Africa via Basel. They made little impact there and spent time out on loan, firstly in France with Nîmes, and then at Red Star. It was only in Serbia that the player began to get regular game time, and Red Star elected to make the deal permanent. 9 months later, the Serbs cashed in as Wolves got knocked back on a couple of signings, and Giga made the journey from Serbia to the Black Country on deadline day. They completed an African hat-trick with the signing of Zimbabwean central defender Marshall Minetsi from Reims. He pitched up in France after 4 years in South Africa, his last club there being Orlando Pirates. The fee paid to Reims was another £16 million, which makes the Zimbabwean national side skipper the most expensive player from that country ever. One big miss for them will be the Brazilian forward Mateus Cunha. Cunha threw a major wobbler at the beginning of March in the 5th round of the Cup against Bournemouth. Having been pulled up offside, Cunha elected to show his displeasure by sticking the nut in on Bournemouth's Kirketh. That got him a 3-match ban for starters, the FA adding another game as a result of the player having to literally be dragged down the tunnel. He's by far and away their top scorer this season, having got 13 of their 40 league goals this season. Enough of them, let's move on to the wild and wacky world of association football. And it was an interesting international window as Scotland managed their usual self-destruction in the Nations League type thing, getting them relegated to League B, whatever that is. And meanwhile, Thomas Tuchel's first England squad was a bit odd. Jordan Henderson's reappearance was credited to the squad needing his qualities. Those qualities presumably not including his apparently flexible view on minority rights, which appeared to depend on who his paymaster is at any particular time. Of course, when it didn't work out in Saudi, his principles were such that he postponed a return to the UK jumping at the chance to play for Ajax in a deal that had absolutely nothing to do with the rather large bill he might face from HMRC had he come straight back to Blighty. In other Liverpool-related news, their support, who, as is traditional when they lose a cup final, legged it within nanoseconds of the final whistle of their hilarious League Cup final defeat to Newcastle, seem to have come to the same conclusion as the rest of us. Namely that Terence Trent D'Arby isn't the, quote, greatest fullback in the world, unquote, after all. That was always one of the more ludicrous claims from Klopp, and one that seems to have been negated now on Merseyside. Now it's become open knowledge that he's been talking with Real Madrid. Maybe one of Liverpool's underworld community needs to have a quiet word, as is their wont on occasions like this. Eh, Gerard? And so to us. Well, last time out, all those weeks ago, we drew 1-1 with Everton, if you can remember that far back. There was a game that ought to have been won. Souček is now becoming to Everton what Lukaku was to us when he played for them. And it was another decent finish for the potato salad kid. However, we still have this tendency to invite opponents onto us once we've got a goal up. Now, nobody's saying we should go all gung-ho when we have the lead, but as an old skipper of mine from my playing days used to say, we really should play in their half. The longer the game went on, the more likely an equaliser seemed to be, and so it came to pass. Indeed, we were only a bad finish away from coming away with no points at all. Something to work on there, Mr. Potter. Still, a point's a point and all that. On the injury front, Antonio continues to progress, whilst it will be another month or so for Somerville. The good news is that Soufal and Füllkrug are both likely to be available for the first time in eons. This brings me on to the prediction. The clubs have an awful lot in common. We've got Lopetegui, change of managers, wayward, allegedly Brazilians, etc. However, I think the loss of Cunha will be a major factor in this one for them. We've also won our last 3 against them, and I think we'll have enough to make it 4 on the trot. So the £2.50 I was going to spend on sending a photograph of the Liverpool players getting their runners-up medal to Merseyside just to show them what they missed, will instead go on a wager with Mr. Winston's turf accountancy business on an away win. Let's say 2-1 to us, shall we? Enjoy the game.